Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Comfy Couch on the podcast about nothing, which is always really about something. I am your host for tonight, Siobhan, the proud owner of the Comfy Couch. And tonight I have a special guest with me, Kim. You want to shout yourself out?
Hey, what's going on? I am Cam. I am the engineer, behind the scenes guy normally of the podcast about Nothing Network. So joining Miss Siobhan here on the comfy couch. Thank you for allowing me to be a guest.
Absolutely. Listen, you guys, our topic tonight, we are talking about daddy issues. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Daddy issues. We are stemming a lot of these questions and conversation pieces from the Kurt Franklin documentary that came out. I want to say maybe like 3 days ago.
Mhm.
It was a whole lot of good stuff in that 36 minutes of whatever he posted on YouTube. If you did not catch it, please go watch that. It is really, really, really powerful and really, really a part of a good healing journey with the topic that we're talking about tonight, which is daddy issues. So I wanted to start with the origin. So me and Kim is just going to be talking like friends, but some good friends, and get into our daddy issues. And hopefully you can relate. And if you can't, you can take something away that can encourage somebody else that you know struggles a little bit with this topic. So, Kim, you
What
ready?
up? I'm ready. You ready?
All right. Yes.
All right.
Origin. Our first topic is the origin. Where did these darn tootin' daddy issues stem from? You want me to go first? Or you want to go first?
Uh, you can go first. You can go first.
Okay. So my story is a lot twisted. So if you got popcorn, and if you like me, you like ginger ale. Okay. You know that's the black people's medicine.
Hey,
All right.
Vernon. hmm
Let's burners.
Yeah, listen. I'm a Vernon's fan. That's what I grew up on.
Canada,
My bad.
Canada Dry, baby.
Oh,
Canada Dry.
that's watered down. I'm good.
I'm appalled. And we're gonna move on. That was sour of friendship. The argument over Canada Dry about which one is the best.
I mean, I said which one was the best, so
Oh,
I'm
look
not
at him
budging.
breaking it up. Oh, I stand 10 toes down on Canada Dry.
Okay,
You
okay.
can't even get a 24 pack of earnings.
I don't need a 24 pack. I'm cool with a 12. I'm good. I'm gonna savor mine. Like going through 24 because you're drinking it like water because it tastes like water. See how that works?
That is actually valid. All right,
Mhm.
okay. The origin of our daddy issues. I was saying, grab your popcorn, your Canada Dry ginger ale, or your Vernors.
There it
You see
is.
how I can be all inclusive? There we go. And some chocolate or something because my story is a little twisted. So I'm gonna tell my beginning, let Kim come in, tell his, and then get to my ending because it's a lot, y'all. I'm telling you. So for me, daddy issues started a lot early. I remember my father being in and out of jail, whom I knew to be my father. Let me say that. Who I knew to be my father, in and out of jail a lot at an early age. A lot of fighting and bantering with him and my other parental. And it did a lot, but what it did the most was make me realize that I always had something missing. And as I got older, I chased after the type of man that I see my father, who he displayed when he was with my mom, right? Because
Mhm.
a lot of times we do that. We say, okay, we're never putting up with an abuser, somebody that's a robber, da 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 da, liar. And 9 times out of 10, we'll go and chase that same thing because of a bad habit that has been engraved on the inside of us. So for me, daddy was gone by 4. And I don't think I seen him until maybe when I was 6 again, because he was incarcerated in and out. And then after 6, I did not get an opportunity to see him again because he was in Florida and he passed away, I think, 2021. So
Oh wow.
go
I'm sorry to hear that.
ahead, Kimmy.
So for me, Um, Pretty much my father was never around, and I hate to be that, that kind of fall into that stereotype of,
Hmm.
black man growing up without a father. Um, but as far as my biological goes, he was never there. He cheated on my mom when she was pregnant with me. Ran out, got with his, or who I'm assuming still now wife,
No.
and left my grandfather, who was his father, to kind of pick up the slack. So I was pretty much raised by my grandfather and my stepfather. Um, so I was at least blessed to have, those two male influences in my life coming up. But it's does nothing to really replace the absence of, the person that had a hand in creating you. Um, as far as, just even with growing up, he lived right across the street from me. Still never seen him. So it takes a toll on you when you're a kid. It takes a toll on you.
It's
It's
something that, yeah, that's very effective in the
mm,
worst way. Right across the street from you,
right across the street.
my
Right
little
across the
behind would
street.
have been knocking on the door.
I mean, I felt like it wasn't my responsibility to reach out.
It
You're
wasn't.
the
You were a
father.
child. You're the
So
father, right? You're right.
right. So why am I, having to make that journey to try to see you when it's obvious you don't want to see me? So I kind of developed that mindset at a very, very young age. And
Did you feel like, was there an inkling of him ever loving you or desiring to be with you, or you never felt that?
oh no, no, I never felt it. I never felt it. I mean, so I know we've talked off camera and things like that, but I have four siblings through him. Um, Three of the four, we all went to the same school growing up. And he would bring them food on lunch, sit at a table with them, and leave me xed out. So I'm sitting in a isolated table with my friends and things like that, sitting up there watching them eat McDonald's, Burger King, whatever it was. And I had friends asking me, "Hey, that's your brother and sister, ain't that your dad? I mean, we look just alike." And I was like, "Yeah, why ain't you over there with them?" He has no desire to bring me into that circle. And it's bad when you say that, and it makes it seem like it's a friendship circle that you're being exiled from,
Mm,
rather than
yeah.
that being your father, that being a family type gathering that you should be a part of. So I never felt that love or anything like that. So
You're very kind because I would have been snatching McChickens off the table.
listen,
Yeah.
I ain't trying to get my
I
age
mean,
before McChickens was a thing. Like
I would have took something. Okay. Well, I was just aggressive like that back then. Praise God. Jesus got a hold of me. But back then, I would have been snap. Oh, you gonna share? Um, that's interesting. So for me, even though my father was absent, I always knew that he loved me. Who I knew to be my father. Let me be
mm,
correct. I always knew, and dare I say this on the World Wide Web, I was his favorite. And my siblings, they know that.
okay.
Even his biological daughter, because I found out other stuff that we'll get to the end of. But even his biological daughter, I knew that I was just his favorite. Like it was just something that he took to me out of all of my siblings and just loved me very, very ferociously in the greatest way. So those memories that I did have of him being good, I really cherish those, but still ended up running out here getting the bad. So how we do that? Do you think that you have stepped in any footprints or footsteps of your father? Any characteristics, any qualities that you?
Not that I'm aware of, and it's hard for me to really know if I have, because again, I
Hmm.
wasn't around him, so I don't
Right.
know what ways he moved. Like I know how he didn't move. I can tell you that
Do
much.
you
I can
look
tell
like him? You do you look like him?
Yeah, yeah, almost spitting
Oh,
image. So, and it's funny because out of all my siblings, I'm the only one that looks
that
like him for the most part. Um, so, but no, I don't. I couldn't tell you. I know being a father myself, I do everything I can to not do what he did to me with my kids. So, and that's, I guess that's one thing I could say that I am grateful uh,
hmm
for, and can say thank you to him for, is you show me the man not to be,
right.
the father not to be. So, um, yeah, if I had to say, I would probably say I stray as far away from the footsteps and footprints that he left. That way I can make my own, and hopefully I leave some that my kids will be proud to walk in.
They will. Kenny's a great dad. Are you gonna lead us into our next one?
I mean, I can,
Please,
I can. So
please.
my question for you is, you said that you were his favorite, coming up, and but being that this is a conversation about daddy issues, I want to kind of dive deeper into that. Where would you say those issues stem from, or in what ways do you wish he was there more or there at all?
For girls, it's different because you know they're saying mommy, son, father, daughter.
Hmm.
And as I have a daughter and I see her relationship with her father, I'm like, yo, that's really true. It's some vital key things that he has given her already at 5 that I absolutely had no idea about at my tender young age that I'm still trying to figure out because he wasn't there. Like the importance of how you present yourself.
Hmm.
Because my mom, she could tell me all day, right? She's a woman, but it's just something about how a dad corrects your appearance. That was a struggle for me. Was I out here dressing all wayward? No, but I didn't have that wise counsel to be like, hey, Siobhan, you should try. I know you want to be you, but be you in this way. A father's encouragement would have pushed me to do that different. And I missed a whole bunch of talks about men. And that really makes me somber because if he would have been present, I would have got a lot of tea and probably would be married right now. Huh?
Okay,
Not
okay.
lacking anything because I honestly feel like no shade to moms, but fathers just have a better approach on how to communicate with the different sex. So he would be able to tell me, like, hey, as a woman, your tone, you can't yell at people, my dear. Not the one, not the guy that you desire to respond to you and love you correctly, like belittling him, that's not gonna work. Let me tell you why. I always had the female perspective of it, but it was always bitter. And it didn't come from my mom because she never downed him, but other people, other women in my life, they were bitter towards the father of their children. So it was always, well, da 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 da. Da. And I'll be like, okay, yeah, cuss him out or cuss him out.
Right.
Y'all not giving me an option like what y'all are exemplifying in front of me. I'm taking it into my relationships and I'm souring them. And they looking at me like, this church girl got a mouth on her. Like, no, we gonna throw her to the side and she can wait on whoever it is that's gonna put up with that because we ain't doing that. So I had to learn like, you gotta chill. And I wish he was there for those. You gotta chill with your mouth conversations and with your anger because I used to be so explosive. I know y'all don't believe that, but I'm telling you, I've never physically gotten into an altercation with a man in a relationship, but I could see where it would get real close because of things that I would say below the belt that would push their buttons, and that would just make them feel depressed as a man. And
Mm.
in real life, that's not normal. You're not supposed to desire to do that to somebody that you love or you care about. And I really felt like if my dad was there, because he was so full of wisdom, so knowledgeable, even though, and the reason why he was cutting up and acting up and always fighting with my mom was because he abused a substance. So especially back in the 80s and the 70s, that's gonna make you go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So
Oh,
he would
absolutely.
come home absent of who God really designed him to be. That wouldn't be present. And so seeing that, I'm like, dang, you are such a sweet, genuine, fun, charismatic, loving, wisdom-filled person. Like, please don't let that take control over you. And unfortunately, it did, and it got him in prison for life because of the decisions that he made while he was on substance and doing all of these illegal things. But yeah, I miss a lot of conversations. I actually could use some conversations now in
Mm,
present time. You know what I mean? Like those things
absolutely.
that fathers tell their daughters. We really cherish those because sometimes our dads are the only voice of reason. It's that model of fatherhood, respect, honor, right?
Mhm.
And because it's my dad, I have to listen to you, especially if it's good. And he would just be giving good things, and I missed it.
I can
How about
see.
you? What do you feel like you missed from your father?
So, in all honesty, me personally, I don't feel as if I missed anything from him. My
Hmm.
thing is, I wish he was there for the people that were impacted that had to pick up the slack for his absence. So, like my grandfather, he, when I say he stepped up and stepped
Yeah.
in, he did everything he could for me. He had
Hmm.
me every weekend. We would go on trips. He would attend the conferences at school, or if I had a sporting event, he would be the one that was present. Like
Hmm.
he stepped into that father role from a grandfather's perspective because his son wasn't doing the right thing. And unfortunately, I feel like that affected his relationships with my siblings because they
Hmm.
felt as if he was showing me favoritism and things like that. When in actuality, it wasn't really favoritism, it was giving me the attention that I wasn't getting from the person I was supposed to be getting it from. And what they weren't realizing is you were getting that attention and
Right.
y'all thought I was just staying away or whatever because I didn't like the man, when in actuality, he didn't want me around. So, like I said,
Mm.
for me, it was just wishing he was there to that way my grandfather and things like that didn't have to kind of bear that burden. And I could see, how it rested on their shoulders and how heavy it was for them. And, noticing that at a young age doesn't feel good.
I
Um,
definitely agree with it.
yeah, so,
I do. I can see how my older brother stepped up to the plate in the same way that your grandfather, in other meaning your family, stepped up to the plate to take care of
mhm.
you. That pressure, like,
Oh, yeah,
I know what I'm doing, but this is your responsibility. Like, you gotta come put some effort. This is your seed.
right.
Not that I won't love them any less because they're an extension of me because I had you, but you have to do something.
Hmm.
And even going back to the documentary, I'm not gonna get emotional.
No, don't do that. Uh,
Just to
Talk through
just to see Kurt's initial reaction of how for him it was father and mother issues.
it. Hmm.
And the desire and pride to have his dad present, wishing he was there in his life to keep him from doing things that he didn't have to do if his father was there. Like that is just it's heartbreaking. And then to know that his mom,
Yeah,
his
yeah, it
his
was
mom.
rough. It was rough.
Listen, how would you have
And
handled that?
uh,
Tell the people what happened first. Let them know what happened if they didn't watch it, and then your
so
explanation on how you would handle it.
if you did not watch it, which I definitely highly recommend,
Yes.
um, basically it is the story of how Kirk Franklin grew up, knowing that he grew up as a adopted child. So he had an adopted family, adopted mother. But his biological mother was still around.
Hmm.
Um, his his father, he didn't know who he was, but the man that he thought was his father, he wound up kind of having some misguided anger towards once everything was all said and done. So after all these years, what Kurt Franklin, I want to say, is in his 40s now, uh,
53.
50s, yeah, 53. So after all these years, he got a random phone call, to a aunt of his that had passed away. Wasn't able to kind of attend the funeral, but someone who was at the funeral said they spotted an individual that highly favored him, down to facial features, the
Hmm.
hands, mannerisms, really favored him. Come to
Everything.
find out, that gentleman actually knew Kurt's biological mother. Um, so the gentleman actually decided to take it upon himself to take a DNA swab, send it in, and they reached out to Kirk to see if that's something that he would be interested in doing, to see, what the possibilities of them being, father son would be. Kirk Franklin took that DNA test and it came back 99.99% in favor that this man is your father. Like, think about that. After 53 years of life,
53.
you finally find your father from a random funeral you weren't able to attend off of one dialogue piece of, yeah, me and your mom were together back when we were younger.
Right.
Like, that's
Like,
crazy.
it's just no
And
such thing as a coincidence. I truly
no,
don't believe in coincidences. And I truly believe that God orchestrates and articulates perfect moments like that. And to see Kurt Franklin's life, especially when it got to the part about when he presented the information, the
mhm,
actual test results to his mother, and she denied it.
twice.
Y'all, twice. I was on the floor
Twice.
in tears because I was telling Ken behind the scenes, like, that's my story. Who I knew to be my father is absolutely not my father. And I found out last year and it completely gutted the mess out of me. Like, I lost all faith in anything. I I was not good. And this is just a year ago. And I found out through Ancestry DNA.
Really?
That stuff is real. Ancestry DNA, shout out to
Mhm.
y'all. If you want to send us some promos,
I hear you.
because no, seriously. And it is so funny how God just coincidentally made it happen. I kept getting matches for family members' names that I had absolutely no idea about. Because my last name is hyphenated. It's my mom's and who I thought was my biological father's name put together. So Blocker, Perry. That makes sense. And then it made more sense to not ask questions because I look like my mom and my other sister, who I thought was my father, he's really her dad. She just looks like him. So nobody ever said anything, right?
Right.
Let me tell you. I said, "Oh, I'm interested in ancestry and descent and know where I come from. Nigerian. Come on, sisters and brothers out there. Okay.
Okay.
I was just so interested. I always had a knack to know, right? That's just me. I get these test results. This last name is picking up, and I asked my sister, I'm like, do you know a family by this last name? Because it's not matching any of a Blocker or any of a Perry. And she was like, no, this is the thing. So when her father passed, who I thought was my dad, she went
Mhm.
to Florida to go to the funeral. Do you know the truth came all the way out? So you
Really?
do know that his name was Wayne. You know Wayne is not Siobhan's biological father, right? Like, this is the Perry side of the family telling my sister everything. She's devastated. She comes back to Ohio and she tells me, and I'm like, what do you do with it? When he was reacting, when she read 99.9999, my heart sank because I'm like, I remember the day when it was confirmed because I put the pieces together. Your last
Right.
name not matching. Let's figure something out. Even before my sister went to Florida and she got the news, that was just the Holy Spirit and wisdom leading me to be like, just brace yourself. Because He will do that. He will surely brace you. And I know this is like going way left, but I truly, honestly believe God won't put anything in front of you until you are absolutely ready. Even though it took Kurt 53 years, he had to be ready to get those results. He really had to be fully ready and aware to perceive what all of this information that is so shattering. And in that moment, God found him fit. And I know a lot of times we blame other people. What does he say? Oh, I'm hollering. I know a lot of times we blame other people for things just crumbling and going all the way out the way, and we like to say that it's the enemy, but sometimes it could really be God orchestrating a beautiful plan behind the scenes so that your healing could get pushed forward. And for
Absolutely.
me, I learned that even though it broke me last year, I learned that He was orchestrating something beautiful that I've never imagined because to talk to my biological father, he is amazing.
Really. That's
He's amazing. He is
that's
super everything that I would envision as a father. My bio dad is that loving, sweet, gentle, kind, patient, understanding. And I would be like, I'm thinking I'm burying somebody, but God is so funny. He actually is like, no, here you go.
right.
Here's this little gift that you thought, I'm not gonna cry. Here's this little gift that you thought that you missed out on. You get a second chance. Not to say that I deserve anything, but I get to now remember in the beginning I said I missed those conversations communicating with my dad. I
Hmm.
actually still get to do that.
That's a beautiful thing.
I get to have those daddy daughter moments and talk to him and he tell me how to make sure I'm right, how to get this lip tight so I don't be fussing and nagging
Well, it
and
seems
doing
like
what
he's
I'm
doing a
supposed
good
to
job.
do. I'm trying. Listen, shout out to my dad. I love you so much. If you catch this, I love you and the family. All right, Cam, I'm about to cry. Can you roll us into our next one, please?
Absolutely. So, before we wrap up, final topic here.
Whew.
If you had a choice
Mm.
to either kind of go back and rewrite things and how they were done, or kind of keep them the way that the same way it played out and where you are now, what side of that coin would you pick? What would you
Pick
choose
a
to do?
side. My year of healing has made me realize that I would absolutely not change anything.
Okay.
I would lose the parent that I thought I had as a dad, and I still love him. God rest his soul. But I would take that gut wrenching moment, July 28th, 2022. I would take that moment of when I actually found out that my biological father was still living, and I would just run with it like I did. I think I would actually handle it better now
Mm,
that I'm understanding that. My sister likes to say God's measures are extreme, but his strategies are sure. And it was an extreme measure because let me tell you, when I say falling apart, honey, I was dust. Do you hear me? Atoms, particles floating in the air, free radicals for my estheticians, okay? I was just done. But to know that life goes on, you do get to heal and you do get to choose to stay bitter or go on this healing journey and embark on having a life full of love and freedom, and most importantly, forgiveness. And as I'm working that out with my family, I'm entering into my life full of love, my life full of freedom, and my life full of forgiveness because I don't want to sit and be depressed about finding my dad at 31.
right.
Like, I know who I am. I have a sure identity in Christ because that's what it says in the word, right? I
Hmm.
have a phenomenal partner co-parenting with my daughter's father. I see how that works in her life. why not go get what just got presented in front of me, right?
Absolutely.
Not trying to mimic anything that she has, but a dad is a dad. And we need fathers. Fathers, knock knock. Hello, wake up. We
Step
need
it
y'all.
up.
Y'all are very, very, very imperative to our livelihoods, not just women and your daughters, but in general, especially our black brown community. Fellas, we need y'all. What Kimmy say? He said, step up.
Step it up.
Darn tootin'. Go ahead, Kimmy. You pick a side. What you picking?
I'm letting everything play out the way it did. Um,
Right?
I'm not. I wouldn't change a thing. I
Mm,
made it 33 years without him.
yeah.
I have two beautiful children of my own that will never know what that's like. Will never know what that abandonment is like, and
Mm.
never know what
Jeez.
it's like for me to not be present. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like they're gonna feel my presence even when I'm not around. So,
That's very
and
true.
if I were to go back and change anything, I feel like those experiences that I got to have with my grandfather probably wouldn't have happened and played out the same way. And
Right.
that's to this day, that's stuff that I cherish. Like I have a whole
Oh.
tattoo dedicated to my grandfather, because he raised me. He
Mm-hmm.
provided for me in ways that I'm forever grateful for. I was able to travel and see so much of the country and things because of him. So no, I wouldn't I wouldn't change anything.
See, we both know.
Absolutely.
We know what's good for us. Well, you guys, before we scurry on off of here, I only have one more thing to say. Anything that you are dealing with, even though our topic is daddy issues, we know a lot of us have mommy issues. I know that I do. Maybe me and Ken can come back and I'll talk and he'll listen because he's a very good listener about anything that you have an issue with. But just remember that at the end of the day, even though they were absent, if they chose to be, if they didn't choose to be, whether it was because of a mental disorder, anything legality, or anything physical wise, remember that at the end of the day, you're God's son and daughter. And our Heavenly Father is the best father to ever have. He's complete in everything that we need. So even though we had loved ones to step in to nurture us and to help grow us up along the way, God is so strategic that He made sure that that happened. He provided all of that. So who you choosing? Again, pick a side. Would you pick to rock with something that's not going to give you anything, no leeway, no help, no satisfaction, no step in person, or would you choose to rock with big man upstairs? Somebody that has actually already mapped out your entire life, who loves you unconditionally, and who can help you through this stage of daddy issues or whatever issue that you have. Okay. You got
Taking us to
anything to say?
church. Nah,
I'll
I'm
be
just listening to
preaching.
the word.
You know how I be preaching, huh? Did they hear me in the back?
I think they did.
Put your
I think
ears.
they did.
All right, turn the mic on, Cam. He the engineer. Turn my mic up. Huh? But seriously, y'all, it's gonna be okay. We turned out well.
I did just fine. So,
I listen. A year removed from my traumatic event, and I feel like I can do anything. Because at the end of the day, it's about how I choose to handle moving forward, right? And I'm going to teach my daughter that forgiveness is a thing. It doesn't matter what happened, how we got here. To know the truth is a thing, and to keep that present in our little ones, to birth the generation of truth. We don't need that because soon they'll be our future. And do we want storytellers or truth tellers?
oh,
Right?
you're right. I don't know if that was directed towards me, the
It
people, or
was.
what
You the
you.
only one that can answer me. I can't hear
The
them.
people can answer. The people
The
can answer.
people, the people's
Yeah,
choice. Do y'all want
I see
fibbers
them listening.
or do y'all want truth tellers that are going to come and be over us in the future? So, this is a very important moment for parents. Like, if you have these hard things to tell your children about being adopted or about their fathers and real mothers, make sure you take that into consideration because you're ingraining them to be truth tellers or fibbers. And you really have to be careful because it'll come back to bite you in the butt.
Hey, the
You don't
truth
want
shall
that.
set you free.
Can't be preaching, y'all. Go ahead.
Oh, no, no, that's all you.
That's
That's
me. Okay,
all
I'll
you.
take it away. You talk. Okay, mic drop. You guys, it has been our pleasure sitting with you guys again on the comfy couch. Check us out next Tuesday, same time, 7 p.m. And tomorrow we have Food Talk, the Foodcast with Jerome and my lovely, lovely man, Eve. He does Easy Monday motivations, right? Did I say that right? Right. And then Thursday, who we got, Cam?
We got Malcolm C. Mello with Just
Malcolm
Clowning.
C. Mello. We just clowning. Is it anybody for Friday?
At coming soon. Coming soon. I might have a
Coming soon.
little something special for y'all brewing for Friday
This is
night.
where we flash the nice little image. Just pretend this is an image and it says coming soon.
So
All
yeah,
right.
be on the
Well,
lookout for that.
until next time, Cam said look out for our coming soon. Y'all see my
Coming
flickers, my
soon.
light bulbs. Until then, we love y'all. We want y'all to heal, grow, be free. Take something from this. Give it to somebody else if you didn't need it. Take it for yourself and apply it to your life so that you can what? So that you can heal.
Absolutely. So peace and love to everybody. And
We
thank you
out.
for having me.
We need him back, right? Yeah. He can come back and sit on the couch.
Maybe. We'll see. So now.
Ah,
All right, y'all.
good night.